Welcome back to Theoretical Nonsense. Today we're going to be discussing Season 4, Episode 23, The Engagement Reaction. On today's episode, we're going to be talking Epicac, alcohol as a sterilizer, adrenaline rushes, jibber jabber, and much, much more. Stay tuned. Welcome to Theoretical Nonsense, the Big Bang Theory watch-along podcast. No PhD required.
We're the podcast that recaps all the episodes of The Big Bang Theory. No spoilers.
So hop into your favorite spot
Make yourself a grasshopper
and enjoy the ride. Hello there, Ryan.
Hey Rob, how's it going?
Amazing, because I'm ready to talk about the engagement reaction.
Oh yeah.
Oh, amazing episode. We're
This is
getting
a good
into
episode.
we're hitting some peaks. We're definitely on everything's going upwards.
And some interesting characterization too. Stuff that I wasn't quite expecting. Stuff that I kind of was expecting, and a couple twists that I enjoyed this. I thought it was a solid episode.
Yep.
So today we are talking about Season 4, Episode 23, The Engagement Reaction. This originally aired May 12th, 2011. And the director was Howard Murray. Murray?
I don't think we've heard this name before.
I think it's new. Yeah. It did not look familiar to me, but did a good job. Great episode. So
Great job, Murray.
Good job, Murray. Chuck Lorre, Bill Prady, and Stephen Milaro are the writers. I feel like Stephen Milaro almost always does a solid job with the script too, so the talent play. But we start off in the Cheesecake Factory. Or maybe I should ask, well, we already said overall thoughts. There's something I was going to say, but...
Love this
IQ
episode.
points. Do you feel like you had solid IQ points? I felt like I had several, but like maybe some failed ones. So I was curious of what your thoughts were on IQ points.
I have some really good ones, but I wouldn't say that they're the best ever.
They're not the
They're
best.
definitely interesting. They definitely learn something, but they're definitely not something that's like... They're not going to make our end of the season recap highlights.
That's fair. That's fair. That's kind of I had a couple that I really, really liked, nothing big, and then a couple that I'm just like, I feel like I need to talk about this, but it's not solid. Maybe it's a fail. So
It's not it's fun. Like when I was doing my notes on this, I was so excited to get the information, but once I got the info, wow, I'm really talking up our episode. Please, everyone, keep listening. You will learn something, but I guess it wasn't. I was more excited about the idea of researching it rather than researching it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
I think that's fair. And yeah, I'm not going to ruin it for anyone. I know there was a couple in there where I'm like really excited, and I got to it, I'm like, oh.
Well,
I'm like,
have some
oh.
for our YouTube watchers, I do have some fun things coming up to show on camera. So, not that what you're thinking. Get your head out of
We're
the gutter.
one of those shows now. I gotcha.
This is turning into an OnlyFans, but no, it's not. We'll get to it when the time
Yes.
comes. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Okay, so we start off in the Cheesecake Factory, and Penny asks Bernadette to take her table. Bernadette mentions, oh, the one with my 118-pound rock-hard stud of a fiancé who is prone to canker sores and pink eye. I didn't realize he was only 118 pounds. He must be really short, because that, like, you can't
They
be
do
that
throw out
thin.
a lot of short jokes.
Yeah.
But I don't think I think they're just exaggerating a little bit. I'm sure.
Because that's pretty.
But then again, he did
Lean.
bounce pretty far off that wall.
He did. Solid job on his part, too, because he made that look real. Bam!
It's just flying backwards.
And Penny replies saying, no, I'm thinking that I would call it the table with my ex-boyfriend and his beautiful and successful and sophisticated girlfriend who makes Penny feel like a toothless Okie. And I find this interesting because, again, Penny was the one who broke up with Leonard, and she's the one who now feels like she's, she doesn't want to be with him, she doesn't necessarily love him, or she hasn't admitted that yet, but at the same time, she feels like she's somehow the problem, I guess? I don't know, that she's feeling bad about herself for not being with him, but he would have been with her had it, like, it was her choice to not be with him. It's not like
I
she
think
wasn't good
nobody
enough.
ever wants to see your ex move on. You
Yeah,
always want to. I know it's petty, but you all know it's true. Whenever you break up with someone, you always want to be the person ahead. And
right.
she was kind of hoping that, but then Priya, I've said this before and I'll say it again. Priya is a catch. And I think Priya is definitely too good for Leonard. And I like Priya. And she's a huge upgrade and more appropriate girlfriend for Leonard than Penny.
She has her downsides, but I do believe she is a catch, and Leonard's very lucky to have her. So, that said,
Yeah.
I personally like Penny's lightheartedness, and I feel like Priya's a little bit too, not mature, but strict, I suppose. That it would be a little bit challenging of a relationship in my mind, and I feel like maybe with Leonard it works, but would it be with Howard or any of the other guys? Like she's a little bit strict. She's a little bit of a hard ass. So
I'm gonna challenge that and say that she's just a grown up.
she's just that's fair. She's very much a grown up. And
Yes.
I don't want to
But
grow up.
but that's not what we're that's not what we want to watch on this show.
It's not what I want to watch. But she is still a catch. There's very little issues, and she's beautiful.
No
very
Dr.
skilled,
Stephanie.
very
I
smart.
will live and die for Dr. Stephanie though.
Yeah, she's no Dr. Stephanie. That was probably but then again, sometimes things just don't work out. Sometimes there's just no chemistry, and you think it's a perfect relationship, and it's just zip nothing. So, but she was perfect for him by all means. So Bernadette asks if Penny wants her to spill some hot soup on Priya. Penny says, "You're not that kind of person." Bernadette agrees. No, she's not that kind of person. But if Priya orders anything low fat, Bernadette will make sure she gets the full fat version of the product.
So petty, I love it.
And it's so great for Bernadette to be like that, there for Penny in any way she can.
Yeah.
Loyal, yes. At the table, Sheldon picks up a glass of water and drinks it. It turns out to be Leonard's water. And Sheldon just basically says, "Okay, I'm dead. Your backwash and every pathogen from your mouth and from the visitors from Priya's mouth are going to kill me now." And automatically, I get that's my first point. One point not being like Sheldon. I'm a big food sharer. Sheldon thinks he will die drinking Leonard's water
So you and I can share a glass of water the next time we see each other.
any day of the week, right from each
All
other's
right.
mouths if you want.
All right. We'll mama bird each other.
Exactly. Pretty chewed.
Yeah.
And I tell you, Kelsey hates sharing beverages with me. She has this thing about backwash. She's like, "It's so gross." I'm like, "You kiss me. We do so much together." And she's like, "But it's gross." And
I'm not even going to go into the stories of me and Christina then.
but it's not when I'm going to win. So if she lets me drink from her beverage, it's usually at the end when she's done with it. But that's something too. It's like she'll offer me her beverage like when it's only like the last like few sips, and she's like, "Will you finish this for me?" I'm like, "No, that is
It's
just
all-
backwash. That's warm. It's fluff."
warm backwash.
And she's like, "If you love me, you would finish it." I'm like, "You don't let me drink from it when it's cold and carbonated. Why would it?"
So you obviously don't love me.
You don't love me. Those relationships are beautiful.
They're amazing. We love our SOs.
Exactly. So anyways, I am a big food sharer. I will let all my friends drink from my glass and take sips. In fact, I don't know if I told you, this is really funny. I was at a Renaissance fair a couple weeks ago and had some friends there with me. Jacob was there and Jeannie were there. And we had the Renaissance fair drinks, and I was getting ready for karaoke. So I was really nervous, and it was kind of loud, and my brain's like kind of, a million miles per minute because I was prepping myself for karaoke. I was really nervous. And Kelsey was holding my beer because I thought I had to go up on stage, but then I didn't. And so I was kind of looking around, and then Jacob took it from her and like held it out and said something. I had no idea what he said. So I'm like, "Yeah, I'll have a drink," and drank my beer. And everybody looks at me and they're like, "Do you really think he just asked you if you wanted a drink of your own drink?" I'm like, "I don't know. He was asking if he could
what's
try it."
happening.
I don't know. I have to go sing, guys. This is chaos. So, anyways, point of the story is I'm absolutely fine if people have a drink of my drink, as long as they don't have the canker sores, I guess. At like, open wounds, hopefully. But usually, I'm fine sharing drinks and sharing food. So, in what we see with Sheldon, he's totally not, and he's going to have some fun this episode with all his worst fears when it comes to germs. Bernadette comes by and asks what they want to eat or what they want, and Sheldon says that he would like a 7-day penicillin regime and some apricot syrup. And I get first IQ point because technically apricot syrup wasn't a thing then. Do you know anything about apricot syrup?
I only know about it because of Family Guy.
Yeah, I remember that episode. I can't remember why he takes it, but doesn't he like take a bottle and like just keeps throwing up?
Yeah, it was him. Was it Quagmire, Stewie, and Brian? Just
Yeah.
for fun. It was something with like their insurance covered it, so they just got it just for the sake of it, and they're like, "Oh, I'm fine. I don't know what the big deal is." Then,
Oh yeah, the last one to throw up was the winner, and so they were like, "I'm fine."
Oh.
Anybody else? And so, anyways, it is some sort of syrup that, and I didn't even look into exactly what it is. Some sort of chemical that you drink and it makes you vomit, and it was approved by the FDA in 1965 under the theory if somebody ingests poison, you drink the apricot syrup and it makes you vomit up the poison within 30 minutes. Therefore, the poison is not in your system and you won't get sick and die. There are some problems with that, though, and by 2003, this is according to Arizona Poison and Drug Information 2003, the American Academy of Pediatrics announced it no longer recommended apricot syrup for at-home poisonings. And by 2010, the last manufacturer had discontinued the manufacturing and selling of apricot syrup. So now you like can't find it, or if you do, it's going to be like a really dated bottle that's not the actual apricot syrup.
wait, so was it over the counter in the past then?
It was over the counter,
Interesting.
and then you could get it at like a pharmacy. And
Oh,
then
how are there not more pranks with Epicat then?
right, that's like, haha, you ate your pudding. That's
Circa 2010. How have we not been doing this more often?
So yeah, by this show 2011, whatever apricot syrup he was talking about would have been manufactured several years ago. It wasn't for sale, and I know that for a while they were pushing for it to just be prescription based, but they really just retracted their stance on apricot syrup that it wasn't beneficial. And so, according to poison.org, they say that you should call 1-800 222 1222. So 1-800 222 1222 for poison control services, because technically using an apricot syrup could cause more damage and doesn't necessarily help. The logic makes sense. You throw up the poison, it's out of your system, it's not going to cause a problem. However, most of the theories, or I guess research, suggests that it didn't help, that once the poison was already in your system, you were already sick. So it, like, even throwing it up, like, it was already a problem. Not to mention that if it was, there were other issues too. One of the issues was that if you swallowed, and this was what I remember hearing as a kid, that if you swallowed like a chemical that caused burns and you vomited up, like, it would actually do damage going down your esophagus, and then it would do more damage coming up. And the notion was that maybe poison control could give you something to neutralize the chemical, and it wouldn't cause as much damage as like being stuck in your esophagus going up and down, up and down. So that was one issue. Apparently, the apricot syrup could cause issues with medicines that cause seizures and cause more damage that the chemical didn't get processed, or that maybe it could be neutralized and the apricot syrup wouldn't help. It was also an issue that that after people took it and they were throwing up, if there was a drug to help neutralize whatever poison they had or help the poison, they might throw up that drug too, and therefore they could not treat whatever poison they had ingested. It wasn't going to get down to the actual poison. So yeah, if you're vomiting up the antidote, then it's not going to be helpful. Then also there were chronic use issues that would cause heart problems and potentially even death. And one of this, and this is what I remember from high school, people using it for weight loss, people with eating disorders. And I remember girls at the time using it to throw up, basically bulimia, and guys using it because they wanted to make weight for wrestling teams. And I'm not going to name anybody. It's just I remember meeting people who are like, oh yeah, I have a bottle of that just so I can make weight or be beautiful or whatever. And so there are all these issues with it. It makes sense why it was discontinued, because it wasn't even that helpful. And again, the conclusion that I got from this is by 2011, by the time this was aired, it was no longer used and no longer even made. So when he said that, I don't know, at the time, maybe he just didn't realize it, but at the same time, it seems like something he would know, that Epicat syrup wasn't very useful, and there was a whole lot going on about how it was more harmful than good and didn't even actually help. So even if he had it, it probably wouldn't help. The antibiotics regime might have, the penicillin. So that was my IQ point on Epicat syrup. If we can ever find
it seems like he should also know that it wasn't even available either.
Right? Yeah. Sometimes I want to try. I want to see what it's like, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Ryan,
I want to do Family Guy. You know, the last one to throw up wins. But I don't think that's going to happen. Never go to a
Ryan party now.
Time to play a game, guys.
We're gonna spin this wheel. We're gonna spin the bottle, and whoever it lands on, you take the Epicat.
Drink us. Here's your shot. No. So Sheldon uses Leonard's napkin and gets up saying this is all a nightmare. So that's part of the joke for the episode, is he keeps using other people's stuff and doesn't realize it, right? So he's like, what nightmare is this?
That part is a little implausible. How is Leonard's napkin all the way over there?
On the other side. And Sheldon didn't pick up that it was over there.
Yeah.
It's kind of... And so he runs to the bar to sterilize his mouth with alcohol. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that later, too. But we have the intro, and we're back at the Cheesecake Factory. Bernadette hands out the drinks, and I love it that she gives Priya her root beer, and Priya says, it's diet, right? She goes, that's what you ordered. So,
I actually have an IQ point on that one.
Go for it.
I was wondering, like, so she drinks it, she accepts it, and it got me wondering, I was like, I feel like it's pretty noticeable when things are the low-fat or no-fat version.
Yeah.
I feel like it's pretty noticeable, and I feel like I'm sure Priya has had a root beer at some point in her life. So this is what I wanted to do a little bit of research on, is like how, like, in case studies or in taste tests, what is the success percentage of people knowing that it's a full fat versus a non-fat?
Like, I'm pretty sure I could tell non-fat to low fat to full fat. But I know, like, 99.9% sure that I can tell diet from non-diet root beer or soda, because sugar alcohol has a really weird sweet aftertaste that's kind of weird. And yeah, I agree. But I'm curious what you got.
Yeah, so this is half successful, because there really doesn't appear to be any official tests of soda's diet versus regular. Like, they're just not out there. I spent a lot of time just, like, searching around, rewording my search and everything like that. There doesn't really seem to be any official case study, which is kind of, like, defeats what we said last episode. I forgot what we were talking about, but we basically said if there's a case study, it exists. Like the porn thing.
Rule 64 or whatever it is.
If you could think of it, they've done research on it. But in this particular case, they did not.
The only reason I can think of that is because it would probably go to show that everybody can tell a difference. That the research shows what they don't want it to, so they don't do the research, so it can't be held against them, right?
Yeah, probably. But as I was looking around, there were several sites ranking different sodas, but again, nothing that distinguishes between diet versus regular. There are many websites out there that explain the differences between diet and regular and how to determine which kind it is by tasting them. So basically, people are out there cracking the code for everyone. And more recently, there have been viral TikTok videos of people doing blind taste tests, and it's proving that there is a fairly significant taste difference between the varieties.
Hmm.
But I wouldn't take TikTok and Twitter and Instagram to be the end all because these are
Peer-reviewed
not.
research.
Yes, it's just it's a single person. These aren't controlled environments, so we have to take all those with a grain of salt. And they could be faking because it's just a TikToker.
Yeah.
Yeah, but based on
No,
some
they
others.
never fake on TikTok, do they?
Oh no, they're all
Oh, okay, you
real.
scared me
You should
there.
definitely get all your information from TikTok.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
And I've known a lot of soda drinkers that easily tell the difference.
Hmm.
I think it would be easy to trick Priya that it's diet versus regular, though, because she's not suspecting anything. And I think that's the key difference about this of why I'm allowing her to like be fooled by it because she doesn't think Bernadette would trick her. Because most of these people on TikTok and all these other people doing blind taste tests, they're specifically looking for a difference.
Yeah.
They know there's a difference. So they're trying to pinpoint it, but if someone just gives you a soda and is like, "Yep, it's regular," then you're just like, "Okay, why would Bernadette trick me?"
And even if you can tell the difference, it's like, do I really want to say anything? It's just a soda, right? So it's such a small issue. She might tell the difference, but I also like that's why Bernadette is able to do it because it's such a small crime, right? That's just
Yeah.
like, nobody's getting hurt.
Exactly. But in my search, I did find that there was an official test done by the University of South Carolina that did a taste test of Coke versus Pepsi. But this was back in 2015. So that was the only official soda taste testing research that was out there. And people enjoyed Coke more. So
Really?
yeah. I don't drink either, so yeah, I can't comment. I don't think I've ever had a Pepsi in my life, and I've had Coke here and there just as like a chaser.
I like Pepsi more. It's, I hear that Coke actually has more sugar in it, I think, but Pepsi, for some reason, is perceived sweeter. I'm not sure if that's true, but I just like the flavor of Pepsi more. But at the end of the day, I like Dr. Pepper the most.
Mm.
I'm not a huge soda drinker. I feel like if I get too much sugar, I start feeling sick, so I don't drink that much. But if I have my choice, it would be Dr. Pepper, Pepsi, Coke. Although I have to say, have you ever tried, what is it called? Jewel Must, I believe it's called.
No, is that just a type of soda?
It's a soda from, I believe, Nordic countries, some like Eastern Europe, maybe other Europe. I don't think England does it, but it's like a holiday soda that they mix in like allspice and cinnamon,
Eggnog.
eggnog. It's like the eggnogs of sodas, and it's like so big that people like stop drinking alcohol around the holidays to get this soda, and so like breweries will like drop down their brewing and kick up soda production. I'm like, wow,
Okay.
that's holiday support. I don't know. In
Have
America,
you
we
had
just
it?
drink more. I have. I've had a couple different types, but I remember that Pepsi actually did like a Pepsi holiday spice back in like, I don't know, 2006 or something. They did it for like a couple years, and I loved it. And then they discontinued it, and it was gone. But that was a good soda. I wish we did that in the U.S. I'd probably drink more soda at the holidays. But I do drink a lot of eggnog around the holidays.
I always get like a traditional like little like half gallon of it, and it's amazing. I love eggnog so much.
I feel like I can't drink much of it just because it's so like
Thick
thick.
and
Like,
heavy. It's a
yeah,
dessert in itself. It's like it tastes like just a very thin milkshake.
yeah, but it's so
With a little bit of
delicious. And
holly, with a little bit more holiday nutmegginess and cinnamon.
no, you ever see that King of the Hill where I can't remember Khan's wife, the neighbor, is
Yeah.
telling Peggy how to bake, and everything she says needs nutmeg, needs nutmeg, needs nutmeg. Everything she makes needs nutmeg.
I just remember the episode where the neighbor husband Khan was he was a charcoal griller which
Ah.
really rubbed Hank the wrong way. But then he gave him the burger, and he was like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!" And Hank was like, "No, no, what's happening?"
Have you watched any of the new season?
There's a new. Nah, I didn't even know that there. One, I didn't know that there was a new season. Two, I think we talked about this. I only found my appreciation for it in the last like 5 years. So I just haven't gone back and rewatched it. But I feel like as an adult, I would love it.
This summer they released a new season, and it's like 20 years later. So Bobby is like in his 20s, and he started a Japanese restaurant using charcoal. and
Oh no!
Hank and Peggy have just returned from setting up propane in like Saudi Arabia. It's like so weird, but it's fantastic. I love it. It's every bit as good as the original. I highly recommend it.
I should just go back and rewatch it.
Yeah, I think I want to watch the original series, and like I forget they had Brittany Murphy in it. She was Luann, solid character, but they had Tom Petty in it for several seasons.
Oh,
He played a
I
guy
don't
who
remember that.
won a lottery, I believe, and so he was like filthy rich, but like he also like had horrible things keep happening to him, and he was like a hick, so he was like missing teeth. But they called him Lucky. It's Tom Petty's voice,
All right.
right? Uh, but yeah, I recommend if you haven't anybody out there if you haven't watched the new season King of the Hill, it's funny. I enjoyed it. All right, so anything more on sodas?
Nope, that's all I got.
Oh, cool. So Priya asks about Bernadette's wedding, and apparently they're talking about having it on a cliff overlooking the ocean. And Howard mentions like, "Oh, it's great for wedding jitters to know that you can jump off, kill yourself right afterwards, right?" So good thing there, Howard. That's probably winning your fiance over,
Yeah, it's like, dude, you literally just proposed to her, and now you're talking about the jitters and killing yourself.
right?
Dude, come
And
on,
you're
man.
lucky to have her, so you know.
Yeah,
Uh,
you don't even know how lucky you are.
Leonard asks about Howard's mom and what she thinks. Apparently, he hasn't told his mom yet. And they get into, or I do like, he goes, I'm thinking about weaving it into her eulogy. So, like, after she's dead, he might mention it. Priya says that he needs to tell his mom, but he responds, well, have you told your parents about Leonard? Priya says that's different. Her and Leonard aren't engaged yet, and Indian parents are very protective of their children. I do like Howard's response that he's like, "Oh, and Jewish moms are just casual la di da with their sons, right?" So he has a good point that Priya cannot. Has no room to say anything really. Sheldon returns and he has been gargling some tequila and he might have swallowed some. And I do like Leonard asking if he's all right, and Sheldon says, "Yes, thank you for asking. I love you so much." So it's
Love
hitting
that. I
him.
love drunk Sheldon.
But I did my second IQ point about this about tequila being a disinfectant and mouthwash, and I found some interesting stuff. Something that might actually change my life as I drink my beer.
You ditching
So
the Listerine?
the Listerine,
Listerine's gone.
No.
Only tequila.
only tequila now. So the answer is yeah, it could probably be a disinfectant and mouthwash in its pure form. And according to Forbes.com, it can have a similar effect as rubbing alcohol. They are different alcohols, as far as it's saying. But a concentration of any alcohol between 50 and 80% can be considered disinfecting, and the higher grades get better. I'm not sure what happens if you go beyond 80%. If I'm guessing it's still disinfecting. It's just probably not something you want to be using or touching. But anyways, apparently, according to Forbes.com, there are cleaning services that use it, and they talked to somebody named Terry Glassman of CO, I believe, Emirata Tequila, who basically, I'm guessing she gets it for like really cheap because she owns a company that makes tequila, and she uses it for everything. She says she sanitizes her hairbrushes, her makeup brushes, she sanitizes her hands, cleans her copper, jewelry, and cleans mold around her house with the tequila they make. So apparently it does work as a disinfectant. And I know that I've tried a deodorant company, and We're not getting paid by them, so I'm not going to say yes or no, but I've tried them. I've enjoyed some of their products, called Pit Liquor. And they basically have, I don't think they use tequila, but they've used vodka and whiskey to make deodorants that you spray on your pits. And it kind of serves as a cologne, and I mean, it's a disinfectant. And our pits smell because our body odor gets produced because of bacteria. So if you kill the bacteria, you won't have the BEO. And I think they have some other stuff in it, like arrowroot or something that helps with it too. But they also mix essential oils in, so you get some smells like black pepper or lavender. So again, they don't. I don't think they use tequila, but technically, it could potentially be used like that as a disinfectant or a cleanser, I suppose. And so I looked into as a mouthwash, and this is where I found some interesting things because according to enameldentalchicago.com, alcohol-based mouthwashes use ethanol or ethyl alcohol. And from my understanding, this is basically like Everclear. It's usually like a corn-based liquor, and it gets used in a lot of mixed drinks, Everclear, and it can be used as a mouthwash. And I know I found recipes before that use vodka as a mouthwash. However, mouthwash, what you buy over the counter, has added dangerous chemicals in it too, so you shouldn't be drinking it. I think one of them is usually there's fluoride involved, and drinking little amounts of fluoride isn't a problem, but drinking it in bulk, like eating toothpaste or mouthwash, can cause problems. However, this is where things get kind of interesting. Apparently, there's kind of a push against alcohol-based mouthwashes, and I never realized this. I thought that people use non-alcohol based mouthwashes if they didn't like the burn of the alcohol based mouthwash, so that was one reason for not using the alcohol. But apparently, alcohol can dry out the mouth. It decreases the flow of saliva, and if you have a dry mouth, basically with more air in there and less saliva, it promotes bacteria breeding. And so you can have an uptake in plaque and bacteria, even though it kills everything at the time. It provides a better environment for those to grow in and flourish. It can also, this website said it can have a negative impact on gum health. But it didn't go into depth on that. It did say also that you have to clarify that using alcohol, you have to have pure alcohol. That if you have a mixed drink, it doesn't count, because apparently there's a lot of people saying like, "Why? Well, I can just gargle with a margarita," and that's not going to help. Technically, with margarita, lime juice will eat away at the enamel. It's very acidic. And simple syrup, which is in a lot of mixed drinks, or sugar, will give the bacteria in your mouth something to feed off of, which causes more cavities and completely ruins the use of mouthwash. So technically, you do have to have strong alcohol to do it, but that decrease of saliva could be an issue. Then I went to a place called YaleTownDentistry.com, and they claim that non-alcohol based mouthwashes might be better for a couple of reasons, much like the dry mouth. But apparently, alcohol can be acidic, which could break down enamel and dental adhesives. So if you have crowns, bridges, or veneers, alcohol-based mouthwashes could dissolve those bindings, I guess, a little bit faster, and that could be a problem. But here's the real kicker. Although there's no hard evidence to support this, there are some theories that having an acidic environment in your mouth can lead to tumors, and that by using alcohol-based mouthwashes, you could be promoting oral cancer. And so technically there's a lot of alcohol-based mouthwashes out there. It does do the trick, but it could be promoting more bacteria growth, and it could be promoting cancer, although there's no solid connection between that yet. It's just a theory from what I'm seeing. But anyways, I thought that was interesting. I always thought that alcohol-based mouthwashes were the way to go, and that you could basically gargle with solid Everclear or strong vodka. I'm guessing tequila would probably leave a taste on your mouth more than vodka, but apparently they may not be as good as other forms of mouthwash. So that was my IQ point.
So basically, it will sterilize his mouth, but it could do long-term damage.
Yeah.
over continuous use.
Exactly. So it's not necessarily the best type of mouthwash, but I was wondering if tequila would, and from my understanding, it does sterilize his mouth. It would work just like vodka or Everclear, apparently.
Well, this reminds me of something that, like, I don't think it's necessarily viral, but I've been seeing a lot on social media as people trying to disinfect their retainers
Mm-hmm.
with like where they take a shot of something and they put the retainer in to kind of like disinfect it. Apparently, that's supposed to be like really bad for you. I didn't read the whole article, but it was one of those things like the highlight of the article was don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't do
I
it.
didn't read why, but I know it's don't do it.
Interesting. Wonder why. I mean, it probably breaks it down, but I'm guessing also
I'm
if it
sure-
dries stuff up.
I'm
it,
sure
like,
because it's plastic, it breaks it down.
yeah. I'm guessing too that if it dries it out, it probably makes like these little caps that harbor
Yeah.
bacteria really well. That it might clean them out for a second, but then immediately they start growing. So, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are at the apartment, and they are playing Mystic Warlords of Ka. And Sheldon plays a fire demon, and I love Raj's commentary. He goes, Sheldon's turning up the heat. Howard
Alright,
plays a troll.
You two people, I told you I had a surprise for you.
Ooh.
Long ago, Ryan, for was it Christmas or my birthday? You got me the cards.
I can't remember.
Mystic Warlords of you remember you got me this gift?
I remember. I'm looking forward to playing it next time I see you.
Well, I pulled out the cards of what they're playing, just so
Yeah.
everyone can see what they are.
Ooh.
I was really just curious about the water nymph.
Was wondering if these were like even going to be in your deck. Like I'm like I got them the cards. I wonder if they're in the deck.
Well, they are.
Ooh, flame
Fire
demon.
demon.
Fire demon,
Bringing up the heat.
bringing up the heat. And then we got
Water
the
nymph.
water nymph. She's got puddles in the right places, all the right places.
Yeah, she does. And the walking tree.
Walking tree. And to that he says, what does he say?
Taking the stroll and sporting wood.
Sporting wood. Did he have the Trollmaster? Howard's Trollmaster?
I got them all.
Got 'em
wait,
all.
Wait till we get. Wait, that's coming up later, right?
No, Howard
Wait.
played the Trollmaster right after Sheldon.
Oh shoot! I missed that one.
Oh, no.
All right. I'll find it. I'll cut this dead air out, but I'll find it. Wait, Trollmaster?
Trollmaster.
Oh, right here.
And Raj says he pulls one out from under the bridge.
Can't believe I missed that one.
But it was right there.
Also, I was so excited about everything else.
It's so cool that they're actually in there in the water nymph.
Well, yeah, they play it like a couple more times, so
Yeah.
I got some more
We
cards.
got some more coming up. And if you're not watching on YouTube, you should because the artwork's actually really good.
Yeah, it's actually really good.
I wonder if they commissioned it or like just stole it or something. Whoever I bought it from.
AI.
AI, of course. Oh no. All right, so Sheldon tells him to play the game without the commentary. Raj apologizes, and I get a point for being like Raj here because I know I can make commentary like that, and people tell me to shut up. I make commentary and can get people to tell me to be quiet like they tell Raj. So yeah, I'm more about the commentary and making jokes, and people are like, "Just be quiet, Ryan." So one
Take the
for
game
that.
serious.
Take the game-
This
but
is
it's-
serious stuff. Water nymph.
Right place.
Hocus pocus. Wait, hocus pocus Pocahontas, which I will be showing later.
Yeah, I like Raj gives this like sad look, and finally Sheldon's like, "You can do one more," and that's when he goes, I was sporting wood," and what was the exact quote? Taking a stroll and sporting wood. Howard gets a text, and it's from Bernadette and his mom. They were having lunch at a deli. Howard says his mom might swallow Bernadette and spit out her bones. He's really afraid of how this is going to go down. Leonard asks if he's met Bernadette's parents, and like at first I didn't get the joke, but then I'm like, oh wait, the second time I watched it, he goes, "You mean Adolf and Eva?" So Adolf Hitler and his wife Eva. And he goes, no, I haven't met them, but I don't get what's up with the hostility. We haven't heard anything about her parents, but him calling them Adolf and Eva is like,
I know it assumes that he met them already, unless Bernadette has some crazy stories. Because we do know that she has a German background and she's Catholic, so we know that about her. So they must have exchanged stories off camera.
I was taking there were some stories off camera, but I couldn't remember anything on camera, and I took it as he hasn't met them yet. So, but
yeah,
there must be
because he says later on that like, no, I haven't met them yet.
Oh yeah, but there must be. I wish we had some stories to build that up to just give us some reference to why he thinks they're Nazis. But then I guess German heritage and being Catholic like that could be enough.
People stereotype against him about being a Jew, so I guess he can stereotype about her being German.
Throw it right back at you.
You know what? Eye for an eye, I guess.
Sheldon picks up some water and drinks it, and Raj says, that's my water, Sheldon. And I love Sheldon gets up, he's like, oh dear Lord, and runs. And it turns out that it wasn't Raj's water. And he knows that. And then Sheldon's in the bathroom screaming, where's the mouthwash? And Raj just picks it up from behind a pillow. He's like, where indeed? So he set the whole thing up because he's a mean little man, as we find out later.
Yep.
Mean little man.
I think he's acting out a little bit because everyone else around him is in relationships and is having a great time, and he's all alone.
Everybody's happy and he has to pull him down.
Yeah. At least he's not on that medications anymore.
That's true. He's got his clothes on, and that's a plus. Back to Howard's home, and apparently he walks upstairs and his mom's in the bathroom. And he asks how it went, and she says she isn't done yet, so she doesn't know it. He meant lunch, not her going to the bathroom. His mom says she had the pastrami sandwich and mentions that Bernadette got the eggplant lasagna. Which, what type of person gets that at a Jewish... Why would a Jewish deli have eggplant lasagna, right? I don't know. That's...
I know, if it's on the menu, it's fair game. Come on.
That's fair. Although, one time I went to a vegan restaurant, and usually I get, like, the soy burgers, or Kelsey gets the vegan chicken because she's allergic to chicken. And I took my mom one time, and she's like, I want the vegan tuna. Like, why the fuck? Like, what makes you think that's going to be good, right? And apparently it was terrible, and they took it off their menu like a month later, but... I want the weirdest thing that's... Why would you... So anyways, I can understand, but again, if it's on the menu, it should be fair game. And to be fair, that's probably what saves her, because what we find out later is maybe there's some food poisoning involved. So besides the food, did they get along? Howard says he has some news, and the mom's like, yeah, she's fine. And the mom hopes it's good news because she has nothing but disappointment going on in the bathroom. Dun-dun-dun. He says they're getting married, and there's silence. And there's more silence. Then there's a big thump as his mom, it sounds like, falls off the toilet. And Howard says that he's going to break down the door and save her. He jumps at it and just, like, totally ricochets and falls over. And he's on the ground, like, squirming in pain. He's like, Mom, help me! And so I did this, not a full IQ point. I just wanted to say some basics of kicking a door down. Because apparently, like, if you run out of door, that's not going to help. If anything, it's going to cause more problems. I got some advice from Tactical Rifleman YouTube channel. His video, How to Properly Kick in a Door. And it's really got to be a very specific door. It's got to, you have to assess if it's a push or pull. If it's a pull door, you're probably not going to kick it down. It has to be a push one. You have to be entering and it has to be going inside, away from you. Otherwise, it's probably not going to work. They also said probably don't want to kick the center, especially if it's a hollow door, because if it's a hollow door, your foot's going to go right through, and then your foot's going to be stuck in the door, and it's going to be a lot worse. If it's not a hollow door, you're probably just going to bounce off it like Howard did. They say you want to aim towards the knob, but you don't want to kick the knob, because if you kick the knob, that's going to take the force, and you're going to twist your ankle all up. You want to cook around the knob, and from what I usually see, if you see the knob, you want to aim just to the left of it, or just to the side of it. I guess left or right or whatever, just to the side of it. And that's putting the force of your kick into the latching mechanism. And you're not trying to force the door open. You're trying to break that latching mechanism and have the latching mechanism break through the little piece of wood that's holding it intact on the other side, or just having it, rip through there. That you're not trying to knock the whole door down. You're not going to be able to do that. You just want to break that latching mechanism. And so, that's basically it, that you don't want to jump at it, that you want to kick right towards the knob. But again, if it's a pull door, you probably won't be opening it, and it's still kind of hard. And I like at the end of this video, he's like, the real way to do this is to, I forget what he even said. He just like pulled out a shotgun. And he's like, this works every time, and blew the doorknob open. Not a full IQ point, but I like mentioning that if you ever, I've never done it, but I've heard this several times, that breaking a door down, it's really hitting right at the weakest point, right by the doorknob, to make that locking mechanism break open. So we're in the laundry room, and Penny chit-chats with Sheldon some, and he says he's waiting on the microorganisms to travel through his system and basically kill him, and Penny giggles. She has no idea what he just said. And she says that because Leonard's dating Priya, she's been kind of staying out of the picture, and she hasn't gotten to hear Sheldon's jibber jabber lately. And she asks, Sheldon's kind of like, I don't jibber jabber, and she's like, what did you do? What have you been working on at work? And he mentions that he's been researching string theory, quantum theory, and dimensional de-Sitter space. And this is another failed IQ point. I did a little bit about this, but even I found an article that was basically dumbed down version without math, and it was still above my head. Did you look into this at all? No.
Nope, not interested.
My understanding.
But I did look into jibber jabber though.
I did that too.
Yeah.
I'll take this one, and then you go into jibber jabber.
Okay, yeah.
I have something I want to add with jibber jabber too, but I think you should take it. So according to Bob Klauber's 2018 article, quantumfieldtheory.info.com, de-Sitter space attempts to solve Einstein's field equations of general relativity, and it's considered a good model for our dark energy dominated universe. Basically, from what I'm understanding, it's trying to understand why, if gravity exists, why things are moving apart at an accelerated rate. And math kind of suggests that, basically in a three-dimensional universe, we are supposed to be a flat universe, and that's confusing to me, because if we're three-dimensional, how can we be flat? But the notion is that our universe is flat, or maybe slightly curved. But however, when you add the fourth dimension, and the fourth dimension is time, that's where we get space-time, we see that the universe is actually curved, and this kind of attempts to explain this a little bit. Again, this is above my head, so if anybody knows more, feel free to send us an email. Another thing this article says is you consider taking a slice of space. If you have this three-dimensional curved universe, or what we would perceive as three-dimensional, and you take a 2D slice, it's going to look flat. And so in a four-dimensional universe, if you take a slice that's three-dimensional, it looks flat to the four-dimensional. But as soon as you add that fourth dimension, you notice curves that you didn't notice in the third dimension. Basically, every new dimension gives you a new way of looking at it, I'm guessing. But de-Sitter spaces is spaces in this universe with it's this theoretical space, this theoretical universe, that if you had a universe with no matter in it, but it has a positive curvature and has dark energy, this could attempt to explain why space-time, just the universe itself, would accelerate and expand. That even without matter, that the universe itself is expanding in some way, shape, or form. And the last thing about this is that our universe is not a de-Sitter universe, and that a lot of people mistaken thinking, oh, we have all this empty space, this vacuum of space between planets and solar systems. Technically, because we have any matter in our universe at all, we are not a de-Sitter universe. A de-Sitter universe would be this theoretical one that has no planets at all. What we have is could be considered a de Sitter vacuum, which is spaces with no matter in between them. But basically, it's a theoretical, like, if we theorize a universe that has no planets, no matter, it's just universe. How could it expand, and how could this explain a curvature? And there was much more on this, but that's what I understand it to be, is this made up thought process, or maybe it's not made up, but the thought process of what would a universe act like if there was nothing in it. So again, not a full IQ point, but that's what I try to understand. So background of Jibber Jabber, because Sheldon offers, and this is weird, he never actually gives the history of Jibber Jabber, but he says, do you want to know where it comes from? And then he gets cut off. So what did you find?
So I found this on etymologyworld.com. So the origin of jibber jabber. So the verb gibber is believed to have originated from the Middle Dutch word gebberhem, which translates to babble or to babble. And then there's a noun called jabber, is thought to have derived from the Middle Dutch word jabberen, which also means to babble. So it's weird because it's like in Dutch it's babble babble.
Babble babble.
So then I kept looking further into it, and the word jibber jabber originated in the 18th century as a reduplicative compound to the verb gibber, which they're translating it to be to speak rapidly and incoherently, and the noun jabber, meaning idle or unintelligible talk. So it's kind of a redundant thing, is like what they're kind of saying. It's a jibber jabber. Like, it's so incoherent that you actually have to say it twice.
And it's idle, just very quick and not very meaningful, right?
Yes. Yeah. What'd you have to add?
So two things. I was interested in this because this is a type of thing where I would have assumed there was an interesting history here. And even Sheldon makes it seem like there is, but that's really like not that interesting, right? It's just two words that came to be that, like you said, from German, jabber jabber or babble babble, talk talk. But I'm reminded of two things. One, the origin of boogeyman. And the more I learned about the word boogie, is that some people believe that it's a racist term. That boogie would be referencing black people. And the monster boogeyman might be a racist terminology, but there's a lot of research that suggests, the term predates, or like it has a different history that has nothing to do with racism or slavery in America. But like, again, I haven't found a whole lot on that. I've read some articles that just make the argument that, it's, although like the terms coincide, they aren't necessarily related. But the other one I thought of is Stephen King has a book called 1408. Have you seen the movie with John Cusack?
No.
It's about a hotel room it's not haunted. It's just a fucking evil room. And that's the whole point of it. It's not haunted. It's not ghosts. It's just a room that likes to kill people. And it seems like it's haunted, but there's a guy who writes.
I was going to say, isn't that haunted then? But
right?
No, it's not.
They try to clarify that there's a difference there, that it's a malevolent entity. The room itself is malevolent. And the notion is that if the room is 1408, the numbers 1, 4, and 8 add up to the number 13. And the 14th, if it's 1408, it's on the 14th floor. But since hotels don't have the 13th floor, its number adds up to 13th, and it's on the 13th floor, right? So it's like 1313 room. It's an evil fucking room, right? So anyways, this guy who's writing a ghost book is in it, and I love the story because it's so psychological that it really plays into the guy's mind playing tricks on him, and him kind of spiraling out of control sanity-wise, spiraling into insanity. And there's a quote in it. It's only a couple of lines long, but I always think of it, and this jibber jabber made me think of heebie-jeebies. And in this quote, it says, Mike raised the mini quarter, pushed record, and said, Olin has certainly started a train of thought in my head, or a chain of thought, which is it? He set out to give me the heebie-jeebies, and he certainly succeeded. Didn't mean what? to be racist. Was heebie-jeebies short for Hebrew jeebies? But that was ridiculous. That would be Hebrew Jeebrews, a phrase which was meaningless. On the tape at this point, flat and perfectly articulated, Mike Insland says, "I've got to get a hold of myself right now." So I always remember that because, like, we get these terms and sometimes we think, oh, there must be like this long articulate history or this long interesting history. But like you said, it's just babble somehow got put together. And I looked into this. Heebie-jeebies apparently comes from the 1923 U.S. cartoonist Billy DeBeck. He invented it for a comic strip that he was making, so not racist at all, even though it could seem like it. And there's really nothing more interesting than a guy just made up a word. So I wanted to add that because I was really looking forward to this one. Jibber jabber, where did it come from? It just turns out that it was two words that meant babble.
Yep, that's it. Nothing that interesting, but interesting at the same time.
But I am going to give myself a point for being like Sheldon here because I like etymologies, and I was really excited about this, and I'm sure he was excited too. I like etymologies, and I wanted to know the origin of jibber jabber, even though it was a bit of a letdown. Like, I was expecting it to be like toast. Like, oh, they used to put toast in their punch bowls, right? To give it flavor.
Yeah.
It was like, nope.
No, it's just babble.
Babble. Anything else to add for babble? Jibber jabber?
That's all I got.
Cool. And if anybody wants to read the book, the movie's actually really good too, 1408. I don't think it's as good as the book. A lot of people say that a lot, but John Cusack does a solid performance, and Samuel L. Jackson is like the hotel manager. And he tries to talk John Cusack out of being in the room, and he's so good. It's just, they do a good job. Okay, so Leonard comes in and says they have to go. Howard's at the hospital with his mom, and Penny immediately starts to go with him, and Sheldon pauses. He doesn't want to go to a hospital full of sick people. Penny says, they're going, you don't have a choice. And Sheldon's scared he's not scared of the germs in general. He's scared of the germs that will kill him. It's like knives. He's scared of the knives that are going to stab him to death. So it's very, very specific, apparently. Penny says Sheldon buys all these t-shirts, and he's right now wearing a Superman t-shirt. How can you pretend to be a superhero with these t-shirts, but also be so afraid? And Sheldon says he'll go, but just as an FYI, his aunt died after visiting his uncle at a hospital, and now they both share a coffee can, on his mom's mantle. So apparently she went to the hospital and died a few weeks later. Curious what that story is all about, but yeah. Flash forward, we're at the hospital, and Howard's telling the story of how he heroically broke down the door and picked up his mom and brought her to safety. Bernadette looks at him all starry-eyed, calls him a hero, and Penny's like, wait a minute. How did you pick up your mom? He's like, I don't know. I was full of adrenaline. How do women pick up cars off of babies? And I do like he says, too, that after he pulled up her pants, the rest was easy. But I have
courage.
Yeah, I found the courage after pulling up her pants. Did you do anything about adrenaline rushes and picking up cars?
No, but I actually did do. It's getting a little bit ahead, but he talks about this later about getting sick in the hospital. So I did do a research point on how often I did it on the likelihood of you getting sick after a hospital visit.
Oh. You want to do that one first?
You want me to go first?
Go first, yeah.
Yeah, I can go first.
Okay.
Yeah. So
because
basically,
I'm I'll just say it now. I'm going to give myself a point that I have to. I would still visit a friend in a time of need, but I am scared of hospitals and getting sick. I think I've mentioned that before, but it's come up again. It's in fact, so I'm going to give it a point. Getting sick from being there. In fact, I have to say that I went to a sleep study a couple weeks ago, and it was in a hospital room, and I'm sure that hospital room has been used for sleep studies like since I was born. I don't know. I can't imagine that being used for actual sick people, but I'm like, how the fuck do I sleep in here? People are sick and dying in here. Like the toilet had like a bidet, and it took me a while to understand what the fuck this bidet was for. It was like a shower head that came off the back of the toilet, and it folded down and like shot out shower. And I looked at the toilet, and the toilet had like two teeth kind of sticking out from the bowl area. And I'm like, you know what? That's for fucking bedpans, isn't it? That they dump it out and then they fill it up with the water and then they rinse it out in the toilet. I'm not positive of that, but I'm guessing like how else are they going to empty bedpans, right? So, but it's
Any
just like
fans out there working in the hospital, I know we got some nurses.
nurses, yeah.
Listening.
That had to be. I didn't need a bedpan that night. I'm sure maybe I will someday, but that night I didn't, and it just like really. It's like something crawling under my skin. Like I don't want to be here. So 1 point for Lake Sheldon. How often do people get sick though?
Well, I found this on GenomeTechnologies.com and LifeHacker.com. So take this with a grain of salt, since the first source is actually a cleaning supply company that sells to hospitals.
Do they
And I
sell
couldn't-
tequila?
I didn't look that hard. And honestly, I didn't find I actually looked at the CDC website, and I didn't find a lot of information specifically going into this.
Mhm.
So this is an IQ point, but we do have to take the information and the statistics with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
So according to the cleaning website, according to that website, according to the CDC, which I could not confirm on the CDC website, 1 in 25 patients each day will contract at least one infection they got while in the hospital. So that breaks down to about 648,000 people in the United States. They will develop infections during a hospital stay, and about 75,000 of them will die. But don't let those numbers scare you.
If it's
Because
1 in
according to-
25,
oh,
would that
sorry.
be like a 4% chance? Because
Pretty
out of
much,
100,
yeah.
out of 100 people, that'd be 4. So, but go on, because I am scared. You've
Yeah.
scared me. I'm terrified.
But like I said, don't let those numbers scare you, because according to an article in 2015 from Lifehacker, again, not the most refutable source,
Mhm.
but they threw in their own like sources and stuff like that. You are still much more likely to catch something out in the real world. In a hospital, as long as you stay out of the marked quarantine areas, which Sheldon will not, and practice good hand hygiene, you're already avoiding a great deal of risk right off the bat. When you're just visiting someone in the hospital, you don't need to cover your mouth with your shirt to breathe, and you certainly don't need a medical mask to sit in a waiting room. You probably want to avoid sitting next to people coughing and sneezing all over the place, but that should be the case anywhere you go. And they actually did mention the exact same statistics that I read earlier off that cleaning website, that 1 in 25 patients each day will contract at least one infection. So then I found this other article on Healthcare Business Today. It said that these days, about 56% of people are reportedly concerned about contracting something after a hospital visit. And this is from a 2023 survey conducted by Kinos. Of course, this is coming out of the pandemic, 2023.
Yeah.
So I'm sure back in 2012, people were a little bit more willy-nilly about going to hospitals. But these days, people are very afraid of going to the hospital. So I think that's the joke that they're trying to show with Sheldon, where it's like, oh, you're being crazy. You're being like, oh, you're being paranoid. But actually, a lot of people did share that fear.
Yeah. I wanted to mention two things. One, if you ever watched the movie Contagion, I probably have talked about it.
I've seen bits and pieces of it.
With Gwyneth Paltrow, Matt Damon, Kate Winslet, whole cast of. It is like on my top 5 scariest movies, and probably just for me because I'm so scared of contagions like that. But there's a scene where Kate Winslet is like a disease expert, and she's going in to set up a quarantine area, basically turning a stadium into like where they're taking bodies of sick people and where they will eventually bury them. But as she's setting up, she's like, I need tents here. We're gonna need cots here, or does that. And she looks at the guy, like the mayor of the town or something, and she's like, I'm gonna need you to stop touching your face. And the notion is that we touch our hands and then we touch our face like 25 times an hour or something crazy like that. And it's like that line sticks with me, like, I'm gonna need you to stop touching your face because that's how it spreads. But like you said, it's like if you're at the hospital, as long as you're washing your hands and disinfecting, you should be okay in theory.
And
right?
hospitals, well, most hospitals should be following very strict sanitation protocols.
Yeah. And the other thing I was going to add was these days I hear these stories about, in fact, when I was a kid, one of the things that terrified me the most was flesh-eating bacteria. And I remember watching some news report of a woman who had like lost, I don't know, a leg and an arm from flesh-eating bacteria. And she's like, I was at a playground and I got scratched and it gave it to me. I'm like, you get that at fucking playgrounds? So it happens. But the thing now is like water, right? People going to lakes and ponds and swimming in it, and they're getting parasites in their brains. They're getting like skin-eating viruses or bacteria. So yeah, maybe hospitals aren't as bad as the world, but
the world is so much worse.
The world is a terrible place, guys. Shit.
But that's what I got.
Cool. Well, it gives me a little bit of hope that during my sleep study, I only had a 4% chance, but I am curious if that was a bedpan washer. Like, what else would, like, it wasn't a bidet because it was going from upward position downwards. Like, you can't spray your butt with something, it was like shower head. Bidets shoot upwards at your butt. This was going downward. So it had to be a bedpan rinser, I think.
Maybe.
Or maybe you just
We'll
want to
find
shower
somebody.
in the toilet.
Email us. Somebody let us know.
It's like, I don't want to take a real shower. I'm just going to use the toilet tonight. Alright, so I've heard stories about women picking up cars to save babies, and I wanted to look into this because I've heard it's true, but at the same time, you always hear about urban legends, and so I was curious if this was an urban legend or not. And I looked at an article on BBC.com, and it says that it's not completely an urban legend, but stories are probably embellished. And it did give several examples. First of all, they call this a hysterical strength scenario. Basically, where a person exhibits like more strength than they really should be able. Like, how does a woman pick up a car to save a baby, right? But they mentioned in 2012, a 22-year-old woman named Lauren Kornacki from Glen Allen, Virginia, lifted a BMW 525i off her father after it fell off a jack and squished him. And then it said that, he didn't even give a date for this one, but Lydia Ngioyu fought off a polar bear in northern Quebec to protect her son and his friends from while they were playing hockey. So, like, you know, I'm thinking this mom who's like beating down a polar bear. It happens. And the article mentioned some scenarios, some science behind it, and that it's hard to reproduce these results in scientific lab experiments because they require a near-death experience. And how do you get a near-death experience in a lab where people are supposed to be safe, right? Like, just don't tell them that, like, the gun's not loaded and point a gun at them and see what happens. Like, it doesn't work out, right? That if it's a lab, people know in the back of their mind, oh, there's safety involved. Or they assume caution, a level of safety involved, as opposed to the real world where things happen and they have to react. It also brought up that part of why this might be an urban legend is most examples say that people were lifting cars to save babies, but they don't do a deadlift and lift the whole car above their head, right? They're lifting a portion of the car a few inches to move somebody out of it. And by all means, that's still more weight than a person should be able to lift, especially somebody who doesn't work out or isn't a bodybuilder. But it starts to make a little bit more sense if they're only lifting a portion of it, only a couple of inches. And it also said that, the heaviest part, which is usually the engine block of, gasoline powered cars, usually that's not what they're lifting. Usually it's like the side or the trunk where it's like, it's going to be less weight. So, again, this is
Speculation.
speculation because they can't document this entirely, but typically we can probably assume that it's not the engine block, and definitely there's no reports of, oh, one picked it up over her head and threw it into a building or something, right? It's not like that. uh one thought was one theory on why this happens is that humans are actually much stronger than we realize. It's kind of like we only use a certain percentage of our brain. We only use a certain percentage of our muscle strength. And there's a couple of reasons for this. One is control, being able to, it's like bite inhibition in dogs. Like dogs can bite your hand and bite right through it, but if it's your dog, they're not going to bite you because they know they're going to get in trouble. Same thing, I mean, even like with us, like if we put our finger in our mouth or if we bite our tongue or something, we could bite our tongue clean off. But as soon as our brain knows that our tongue is in our teeth, it stops and it feels like we can't go any further. And it feels like a physical restraint, but it's actually a mental restraint. And so technically our brain is, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say that this reminds me of like I think we talked about this before about like the Halloween parties that you would throw where you did that like gel mold,
Yeah.
which was supposed to represent the
Human
human
flesh.
flesh. Like it's the same thickness and texture and resistance. So when it's one of those things that you were saying, like how easy it is to like slide a knife into the human body, but
Yeah.
our brains are telling us to not do it.
And it's not even like a mental thought. It's just like the electrical signals will not compute, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's
Because
weird
I was
how
shocked how when we did it, I was shocked how easily
that just goes right in there. Wow.
I was like, is this real? But it was the ballistics gel, you know?
And if anybody's curious, there is ratios that you can get of Jello out there, gelatin, non-flavored gelatin, just pure gelatin, and you mix it like I don't know, like 100 times over the recipe, and what it creates is like a Jello mold that's like almost like plastic, but it's a ballistics mold. It's what ballistics are used like tested with, and for a Halloween party, I ate some ribs and I put some ribs from pork ribs into it, and then we played a game where we kind of stabbed it and figured out what it felt like to stab somebody. And it's a lot easier. Like it's certainly tougher than a regular Jello mold, but it's still really easy, right? But that's exactly right. That our brains say I shouldn't be stabbing somebody, so maybe I should. Like it's right. Resistance. Our brains are resisting. So again, our brains resist with the physical strength, partially because we need to have control over what we're doing, but also it's kind of like if we keep our strength at 60%, we're not going to hurt ourselves. That we could go 100% and tear our ligaments, rip out our joints, and do all these problems to our bodies, but our brains keep it down to a safe threshold. And the notion is that with the adrenaline rush that comes with near death experiences like this, we are able to push past, like, we don't even think about our brain saying don't do it. Like, it just pushes past that, and it pushes past any pain that we might feel too. So likely if we're going 100, we're going to tear our muscles, we're going to pull our ligaments, but we're going to be twice as strong as we usually are. So oftentimes people after adrenaline rush will feel like physical pain the next day, or somebody one of the examples I read was a guy who was like had an adrenaline rush and was doing like a bodybuilding thing, and then like the next day he's like, my mouth was kind of hurting. It turned out that he had like cracked 8 of his teeth because as he was doing the deadlift, he had his mouth clenched, and it just like crushed his own teeth. But the adrenaline made it not really hurt. He was pushing past that pain and not processing it so that he, get to the ends. But anyway, so maybe partially urban legend, but at the same time, with enough adrenaline, we can push past, and we probably are strong enough to. I don't know if he's able to lift his mom, but it's not out of the picture. And he
I would
does
have
love
liked
his
to
mom.
see that scene.
What was that?
I would have loved to see that.
I wanted to see his face as he pulled her pants up. Like, oh my God, God, Mom,
I got you, Mom.
I love you. Moving forward, we just got done with adrenaline rushes, and that technically it could be possible for Howard to pick up his mom. Although I do believe he is heavier than 118 pounds, and he probably has more muscle than they're making it out to be because, I don't know, I've seen some pictures of him. I guess I haven't seen him with a shirt off, but he looks stout. He looks like he'd probably be a good rock climber, like very, very, I don't know, wiry. Okay, so Penny says it could be easier to lift a car. I love her face with this too. She's like, her legs can barely carry her. How did you carry her?
I've seen your mom.
I've seen your mom. But apparently that's what happened. And they mentioned that she might have suffered from a heart attack or a heart attack-like event. And they talk about what's the difference. And I like Sheldon's mention, a heart attack-like event is an event like a heart attack. So thanks,
it's like
Sheldon.
it's like that poor definition of a word that uses the word in the definition. It's like, you can't do that.
That helps so much. I appreciate your assistance.
But did you look into this?
I didn't. You know, I thought about it, but then I'm like, I assume that a heart attack-like event is just something that mimics like a heart attack, but it's not necessarily as dangerous as one. But did you go for it?
I went for it. So pretty much like you pretty much summed it up in a nutshell. But to expand on this a little bit more, the first thing I want to say is I want to mention the importance of hyphens. Because I was looking up this for a long time and I could not find it until I threw in that hyphen.
Mm.
And then it's like, oh, there you go. Because everything, when you type in just heart attack like event without the hyphen, like,
yeah.
So you have a hyphen between attack and like, So it's a heart attack like event.
Yeah.
It brought up completely different things. So everyone utilize that hyphen.
So yeah, my understanding of this, if anybody's curious, like if you say heart attack like event without the hyphen, what you're actually saying is like as a verb. So you could say Bob like Sam, like you're telling Bob to like Sam. And so you could say heart attack, go out and like the event. But with the hyphen, you're saying it's heart attack like, they're working together to describe event.
Yes.
Very confusing. I don't think I completely understand it, but that's the way I understand it.
Yes. Thank you, English professor. You're supposed to be a little bit more confident on that.
Right? I don't know how. Shit.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
Something to study up on. Or just ask AI.
Just ask AI. He'll tell you when to put the hyphens in. Or not.
But yeah, every time I didn't have the hyphen, it just kept bringing up information on strokes.
Mm.
But that's not... It's a completely different thing.
Yeah.
But basically, it is like what you said in a nutshell. It's basically something that mimics a heart attack that isn't a heart attack. So it could involve some chest pain or discomfort. It could lead to shortness of breath or other symptoms. But again, it's not a heart attack. It's just something that it could be anything else that could cause those symptoms. And these events can include conditions like unstable angina, where blood flow to the heart is temporarily restricted, or it could even be a panic attack that causes the chest pain and other symptoms similar to a heart attack.
That's how I know them, is the panic attacks sneaking up and seeming like heart attacks until you get to the hospital. You don't know if it's a heart attack or not, but it feels like it.
Yeah. So it's similar. So stroke, and that's where I did a little bit of research on strokes. Is a stroke classified as a heart attack-like event? And no, it's not. It's something completely separate.
Mm.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I got. So it's something that mimics it. It's symptoms that are very similar to a heart attack, but just completely unrelated. So this could have been anything. It's like what we were saying earlier. Chances are it was just a little bit of food poisoning that she had a poor reaction to.
But you want to go to the hospital no matter what, because the chance of it being a heart attack, like, it could save your life, and if you don't go, you're gonna die. So, yeah, always
When in
want to go.
doubt, always just call 911.
Yeah, or pick up
Just
your mom
do
and
it.
hightail it to the, with her on your shoulders.
I know. Did he throw her on his scooter, you think?
Right?
Just call 911.
Just
It is
call
a little bit more expensive. Like, they will bill you for that ambulance ride because, this is America. So, poo poo that. But if it saves your life, it's worth your life.
Yeah.
I'm seeing some hesitation in that. I'm a little worried now.
I'm just like, there is a point where I'm like, how much is my life worth? And $1,000 from an ambulance ride, I'm gonna say okay. But at what
Just
point?
let it go to collections. It'll be fine.
Bankruptcy. Like, I've talked to doctors before, and they're like, we should really think about humans like we think about dogs. Like, there is a price tag on dogs that we're not going to pay $1 million to save our dog's life from cancer or whatever it might be. Like, at what point does a human being's life say, you know what? I'm not paying. I'll just go ahead and die. Like,
Sad but true.
it's sad but true. I wish we lived in a different world, but it's,
Yeah.
I can't
But on
blame
the
people.
record, I've already talked to my wife about this. In a vegetative state, pull that plug.
Right?
Don't waste your money.
$10,000 a day. Yeah, fuck that shit. Just pull
Yeah,
it and
That's Hunter's college fund. It's like, no, just you know what? We got the memories. I'm good.
we'll
Pull
all
that
be
shit.
in a better place after the bills start stop coming in.
And you will remain celibate for the rest of your life.
Well, yeah, that's
Don't even look at another man.
they don't exist. Okay,
Another woman? Okay. That's cool. I'll watch
I'll
that
allow
happen.
it.
Me sitting on a cloud in heaven. Nice.
Nice. Oh yeah. There's an episode of Rick and Morty where I can't remember exactly how it happened, but the mom, Rick's mom, or Morty's mom, I should say, Rick's daughter, Morty's mom, has a clone, and you don't know which one's the clone, if the mom is or this other woman who turns into like an intergalactic space rebel leader. One's a clone and one's the actual mom, and they start to have some sexual attraction to each other. And Jerry, the dad, is like, "What the hell's going on? I'm not sure if I'm okay with this." And they're like, "Well, we're gonna do it." He's like, "Well, I'm gonna allow it." And like, it turns into the sexual thing where he watches, like, "I'll allow that," and they're like,
Yeah.
"Well, what if we kiss?" "I'll allow that." I'll allow that. Okay, so Sheldon mentions that a coronary issue is fine, that can be treated, but the super bugs will likely kill her. But like you said, it seems like a 4% chance, a 1 in 25, probably not going to happen if she keeps washing her hands. Howard says that his family is the history of heart attacks, so it's probably genetic. And Bernadette says, or somehow about their conversation, Bernadette figures out that she had a heart attack right after he said they were getting married. So it becomes clear that they're assuming that news gave her the heart attack. They're jumping to a conclusion there. Howard says it's not personal, that after his dad left, he's been the focus of her world, and she'd be threatened by any woman who could give him what she can't. And they all kind of look at each other, and Bernard says, "You mean sexual intercourse?" So, yeah, everybody's really grossed out that Howard's mom, the only thing he can't give him is sexual intercourse, and that's why she's going to be mad at Bernadette. And then Priya and Raj come in, they ask what happened, and Bernadette's response is, Howard's mom had a heart attack because she can't have sex with him, because I can have sex with him, but she can't. And she kind of storms out. Sheldon offers Raj $1,000 to go home. It's like, if you drive me home, I'll give you $1,000 right now. So he's not even paying attention to the conversation. Flash forward to the hospital. Priya and Penny are talking, and I think this is interesting. They they're actually getting along just fine. They could be good friends. It's just they have similar love interests, right? But they seem to be getting along. And Penny giggles about Howard being a friend, that apparently he tried to kiss her and she's reminiscing on how she almost broke his nose. Priya mentions Raj having friends like this back in India. They would dress up in leotards and goggles, and they called themselves the New Delhi Power Rangers. And Penny goes, when he was little, right? And Priya says, not as little as you would want him to be. So we're thinking probably teenage years.
Probably, yeah.
Penny says the coffee's terrible, and they decide to go to the cafeteria to get some better coffee. Leonard says it's a good thing. It's good that they're getting along, and Raj, being his snarky self, says that can only be good. One broke up with him, and does he really want her telling the other why she broke up with him? And I don't get why he gets paranoid. It's because she couldn't say that she was in love with him, or that she didn't want to take that next step. It's not necessarily bad, but still. Raj says it's good that Leonard's not worried. He has nothing to worry about. And Leonard, like, it clicks in his brain, and he calls Raj a mean little man. Raj says, you think it would be because my parents didn't love me, but they loved me very much. So he's just a mean little man.
Yep.
Howard and Bernadette are talking. Bernadette asks how they can be together if it's going to kill his mom. And he says it's the circle of life. She's going to die and he can be with her, and then she'll die and their son could be with somebody. It's just the circle of life. Sheldon says he has to go to the bathroom and asks Howard to take him home. Howard says no. And basically he's like, well, could you hold the door open for me and flush the urinal so I can go to the bathroom? And that's a no as well. And Sheldon mentions, it's really important for you to know friendships expect a certain amount of give and take. So he's like, you need to hold that door open for me. But then the doctor comes in, and as the doctor comes in, Sheldon runs through the door because the door's open. And now we have a guest star, a doctor. The actor's name is Phil Abrams, and he's been in a shit ton of stuff. Did you look him up?
I actually forgot to look. He was such a small role. I forgot to look him up.
I almost forgot too, and then I was like, "Do we have guest stars?" I'm like, "Wait, we do have one." He's been in like a lot of things, but most recent that I noticed, he was in an episode of The Pit. So he played another doctor in a recent show called The Pit. I
heard great things about The Pit.
I really enjoyed it. Not the best show ever, but solid show, and it pulls you through and it keeps you interested. It's if you haven't seen it, it's basically a 12-hour shift, I think, for an ER doctor, and it's done in real time, like that show at 24. So each episode is 1 hour of the shift, and you go through of like all the cases they go through in the ER, and some shit goes down. He was also in 3 episodes of a TV show called You're the Worst, which I loved when it was on. It's about this man and woman who fall in love, but they're like absolutely terrible people. And so, things get weird. But he was in 3 episodes of that, and I kind of remember his character of that. He was also in like ER. He's just been in a lot of single episodes, but a lot of stuff. And several times he's a doctor or somebody. But yeah, guest star Phil Abrams. So the doctor comes in and says that it wasn't a heart attack, and that the mom, Howard's mom, said she wants to see the little Catholic schoolgirl. And Bernadette says, me? Why me? Howard throws in there, Jews have been asking themselves that for centuries. There's no real answer. And he tucks Bernadette's necklace into her shirt and says, you want to hide the cross. It might burn her if it touches her. So he's being a little over the top with that. But Bernadette goes in to see his mom, and the doctor says, you took a Catholic girl home to see your Jewish mom? I'm going to write you a prescription for Xanax. So the doctor's like right on board, understanding the anxiety he's going through. Now we're in the hall of the hospital. Sheldon comes out of the bathroom saying, finally, because apparently he's been waiting in the bathroom for somebody just to open the door so he could sneak out because he didn't want to touch the door. And he's holding his hands not to touch anything. They're up in the air kind of, so he keeps them away. And somebody comes by on a stretcher and is coughing up a lung, basically. And he kind of ducks inside a room. But for some reason, it's a quarantine room. And I love his line. It's like, what the fresh hell is this? And there's like doctors in like these medical suits, and they tell him he can't leave because he's been exposed. And he pulls his shirt up over his nose. He's like, "No, I haven't. I'm fine." But they won't let him leave. To be fair, I think the door would have been locked if it was that seriously. It probably would have been a different area, but I think it's hilarious. And I love the way they look at him, and he kind of deserves what he has coming. So, back in the hallway, Penny tells Priya about Leonard's mom not giving him approval, giving him while he grew up. And this is great because he goes out of his way to please women now, which makes foreplay wonderful because he goes on and on. And Priya agrees with that, says it definitely does. And Penny says it's like Leonard's trying to win a prize, and it's wonderful for them. But word of advice, don't doze off because he'll never let you hear the end of it. And I like as they walk by, Sheldon's in the room, like trying to get out and screaming for help as doctors are pulling him back into quarantine. Back at the waiting room, Leonard is talking to Raj, and I don't get why he's opening up to Raj because Raj is a mean little man. But he basically says that he used to do little shows for Penny while they were getting ready for bed, and it becomes pretty clear that it's a striptease. But it's not with music, he said, or no, it is with
It does
music,
have
right?
music.
It would be
Yeah.
stupid without music, but there's no pole. He doesn't swing around the pole. There was body glitter one time, though. And Raj says he doesn't have to worry about Penny telling Priya. He has to worry about Raj telling Priya. So, again, Leonard says, mean little man, but why the fuck did you open up to him, Leonard? You know what was coming.
Didn't learn his lesson the first time.
Didn't learn his lesson. Penny and Priya walk in, and they are comparing notes about Leonard in the sack. They laugh, and Leonard says, that's funny, right? Raj says, what if they weren't kidding? They actually weren't really kidding. So, Leonard, yeah, suck it up, I guess. Leonard says it doesn't matter because he's the king of foreplay. So apparently he's good at the foreplay.
Well, he thinks he is.
He thinks he is. Although they seem positive about his foreplay skills. They weren't like,
Yeah.
he keeps going. Like, they seem
They
happy
understand his need for approval.
with it. Yeah, and they'll soak it up. So Bernadette comes in and out of the room with Howard's mom and immediately calls Howard a putz, which is a word she learned from his mom. Apparently Howard's mom thinks it's food poisoning from the deli and wanted to make sure Bernadette was okay. And again, probably because she had the eggplant lasagna and not the deli meats, she might have, missed a bad case of food poisoning there with the weird thing on the menu.
Well, I looked up putts.
Oh, yeah,
I threw
go
it in
for it.
there. I threw it in as an IQ point because when she calls him a putz, and Howard's like, you know what that word means? So she's like, yeah, because I'm engaged to one.
I'm engaged on you putz.
But it's a quick one. The term putz is derived from Yiddish and is commonly used in American slang. It generally refers to a foolish, stupid, or ineffectual person, often viewed as a mild insult. Additionally, it can have vulgar connotations referring to a penis.
Huh.
The word can be used to describe someone behaving very idly or ineffectively. So that's what a putz is.
I didn't know it could be connected to penis, but usually I think of it somebody, like you said, idly, somebody who's not doing anything, they're just putzing around, doing nothing.
Yep.
So, interesting. I feel like that was more interesting than jibber jabber. I was so let down with jibber jabber.
Yeah.
It just means babble babble.
What a letdown. But not at the same time, because you could tell people this now. A little fun factoid.
Yeah.
At the water cooler.
At the water cooler while you jibber jabber about jibber jabbering.
Yeah.
So Howard's mom says Bernadette is a wonderful girl and Howard is lucky to have her. So giving her blessings seems really good. I love Bernadette exits and he's like, where are you going? And she screams at him, going to the toilet. Is that okay with you? Just like his mom does. Sounds just like her. And Howard turns to the gang and everybody's thinking it. That sounds like his mom. And he goes, she sounds kind of sexy when she's angry. So he's got some mom issues.
Yes, he does.
Flash forward, ending scene, hospital room. The gang is in quarantine suits. They're surrounding Sheldon playing cards, Warlords of Claw, at the hospital. And Sheldon plays an elf. Raj says he takes the elf from off the shelf. So he's continuing his commentary. Sheldon looks annoyed. Leonard plays the Hellhounds. Raj says, Hellhounds, who let the satanic dogs out? Who? Playing the song. Howard plays the colossal serpent. Raj says, I've got a colossal serpent right here, and grabs his crotch. Raj plays the rotting zombie, which is apparently going to be Sheldon's new Facebook picture. Sheldon plays Xander, Wizard of the North, and he says he wins. Howard says if they skip the part where he's in quarantine after being exposed to the deadly disease, then he's absolutely a winner. So Sheldon thinks he's a winner, but he's in quarantine. So extra picture time.
Oh, I guess you weren't. I was showing.
Oh,
them
you were showing them
you
as I
saying.
went.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I went too fast.
Yeah.
I want
All
to
right, so
see
here
it
we
one
go.
more time. Okay, we got the
One more time. Mountain Elf.
Mountain Elf. That's good artwork. I don't think it's AI. I think it's solid.
Who let the Hellhounds out?
That kind of looks like, if you're listening on a podcast, it kind of looks like the dog from Ghostbusters, but with vampire teeth.
That's right, it does. And then Colossal Serpent again.
Colossal serpent. Nice. Big dragon climbing a spire.
Rotting Zombie. Sheldon's new Facebook photo.
And it's exactly what it promises. It's a zombie that it actually looks kind of like Sheldon.
Yep. And then Xandar, Wizard of the North.
Wizard. It's a wizard knight looking thing with a big torch on his wizard staff.
It's almost like a knight though, not really a wizard. It's almost like a scorpion or something with like a hood.
Yeah, it's got the cowl and the hood, but he looks more like a ninja, like Scorpion or Sub-Zero, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, while I was looking up all the cards and going through the deck, there were a couple ones that I flagged because I thought you might find interesting.
Ooh.
We've talked about this character in the past, unrelated to this show, but Deadwood, Wild Bill.
What the fuck's he doing in the deck? I love it.
Wild Bill Hickok.
He's got a pistol. There's a pool table behind him. He's got the big mustache like he's known for.
But then, like I mentioned before, they played this card in the past, which was kind of funny that this is even in there. Hocus Pocus Pocahontas. It's like, why?
Why? Yeah, that looks like Pocahontas from Disney. That's their version.
Don't know how they got the copyright for that, but
yeah.
but there they are.
There. And that's the end of the episode. And Jesus Christ, I have a long vanity card.
Yes, you do. So I'm not even gonna make fun of you. I feel bad for you.
I just feel bad. Yeah. Chuck Lorre Productions, number 345. What doesn't kill us makes us bitter. I used to believe that to be both funny and true. Years later, I learned that pain could also be the touchstone for personal growth, which of course points back to the original saying, what doesn't kill us makes us better. Not funny, but perhaps closer to the truth, or at least the truth I chose to believe in these days. So, having recently experienced a bit of pain, am I better? Well, let's review. I think I'm fairly immune to name calling now. I'm not sure I could have made that claim a few months ago. I've also come to see that things I used to think were big deals are not. Problems appear to be relative. If you have a big one, it makes all the others seem almost charming in comparison. And finally, when your life takes a path you could never have foreseen, it's humbling in a good way. It's kind of like a friendly reminder from the universe that, while you may think you have to be the starring role in a movie of your life, you're actually just a bit player trying to grab a quesadilla off the craft services table when no one's looking. So to sum up, I now have a thicker skin. I'm less likely to sweat the small stuff, and perhaps most importantly, I have a renewed sense of humility. All in all, better. That being said, I still try to stay reasonably bitter in order to maintain my eligibility in the Writers Guild of America. Huh. So something happened and he learned to shrug it off? Is that what we're getting? It's
Kinda, yeah.
somebody made fun of him, it sounds like, but I don't think he's talking about his divorce anymore, but maybe.
No, he left that a long time ago. But we have 8 IQ points.
Damn.
8 full ones, since
8.
you disregarded one of them. You said one of them didn't really fail.
Yeah, it was kind of the D universe, D sitter universe. There we go. Yeah, it's kind of and we
that one, and there was another one about I highlighted he tries to break the door down.
Oh yeah, the breaking just that you kick by the doorknob, that you don't jump at it, that you don't kick in the middle, that.
Or should we count that as a full IQ point?
I wouldn't. I think it's just a nice tidbit in case anybody needs to break a door down.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you need a shotgun. Is the most effective thing, so.
It's all about the shotgun. We went up 2 points on both sides, which means that we are 133 points not like Sheldon and 128 like Sheldon. So right now I'm not like Sheldon by 5 points. So season finale next time.
Season finale. Shit's gonna go down.
Shit's gonna go down.
No, I won't say any spoilers, but shit goes down.
I watched the first 5 minutes and the first time I was watching this episode, it was like late at night and I'm like, I'm too tired. I can't do this. I don't want any spoilers. So I turned it off. So I've only seen 5 minutes of it.
All right. All right. Well, any last minute words on this episode, the engagement reaction?
I think that's all I've got.
Yeah. Great episode.
It's a good
really
episode.
Enjoyed it. 8 IQ points. That's the most IQ points in an episode that we've had in a really long time.
Seriously. And I enjoyed them too. Like you said, some of them might have been a little bit of letdown, but I was excited to learn about them. So,
I'll never look at Jibber Jabber the same again.
I won't.
Just say babble babble.
Babble babble. I don't know why I like saying that. Babble.
Well, all right. Thanks everyone for listening. Don't forget to send us an email at theoreticalnonsensepod@gmail.com and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. If you give us a 5-star review, we'll give you a shout out. And we will see you next time when we discuss the season 4 finale. Episode 24, The Roommate Transmogrification.
The end of the season.
Yep. See you next time.
See ya.
This was Theoretical Nonsense, the Big Bang Theory watch-along podcast. No PhD required. Our intro and outro music is by Alex Kroll. Thanks for listening.
He's got his clothes on, and that's a plus.